के कार्यक्रम में हम आपको वन औषधि के बारे में बताने वाले हैं। यहाँ भारत देश के लोग और वन औषधि ये हमारा आयुर्वेद से जुड़ा हुआ विषय है। हमारी जो संच है उसमें 30 गांव होते हैं। 30 गांव की सेविका बहन अभी अपने गांव में ये वन औषधि पौधे लगा रही है। अभी स्टार्टिंग है, आने वाले समय में इसका बहुत सारा उपयोग होगा। और इसी कार्यक्रम में आज भाग लेने वाले हैं हमारे तात सिंह जी। सबको परिचय कराएंगे। बोलिए तात सिंह जी।
जय श्री राम।
सबका परिचय कराओ। नहीं आमद जाको बोलता बताना परिचय।
Let me explain the today's topic. एक मिनट परिचय के पहले
शंकर भाई
स्टूडेंट्स
शंकर भाई एक मिनिट રોકાવજો। ભાટિયા સાહેબ પહેલા જો છે ને એક આ બાબતમાં જરાક બતાવે છે, એના પછી તમે શરૂ કરજો પરિચય। શંકર ભાઈ પરિચય જરાક 2 મિનિટ પછી કરજો।
આપણે મીટ પર મૂકી દો, શંકર ભાઈને મીટ પર મૂકી દો।
હા બરાબર।
Okay, go ahead.
Dear students, today's topic is herbal remedies and herbal plants. Because Ayurveda is the oldest science of treatment in whole of the world, and this system had a large literature which was burnt by the Muslim invaders, which was stored in Takshashila and Nalanda universities. And that is why today the modern medicine people like us say that there is no literature, there is no evidence of the Ayurvedic medicines. So it is true that at present there is very little literature available to prove that these medicines are effective, because in modern India the research for these medicines is now being initiated by the present government and the scientists of Ayurveda. So in past it was not available, so the people say like this, but the effectivity of this literature has been proved by the corona pandemic, because during the corona pandemic most of the people in the villages, on the advice of Arogya, Ekal Arogya Yojana and Ekal Abhiyan, used these medicines for improvement of immunity. And you are seeing that while America is passing through a phase of increased number of corona, in India the cases are continuously decreasing. There are very little number of new cases of corona, and the death rate has now come down to less than 300 people per day, which is at present more than 3,000 people in America. So this proves that the immunity of Indian people is highly better than those living in USA. So now on these herbal medicines, how our Arogya Sevikas are working, this will be shown by Shankar Bhai and the other people. Now Shankar Bhai, go on. Shankar Bhai, shuru kariye. Tanya, please pin Shankar Bhai.
Yeah, we will do it once he starts.
હવે આજે એલોવેરા વિશે વાત કરવાનો છું। આ એલોવેરા એક વન ઔષધિ છે અને સામાન્ય રીતે દરેક જગ્યાએ આ ઝાડ થતું હોય છે, અરે આ છોડવો થતો હોય છે, અને આ છોડવો 2 થી 2.5 ફૂટ થાય। જેમ જેમ વધતા જાય તેમ તેમ એના પાંદડા ફેલાતા જાય। હવે આ છે ઝાડુ આવે છે અને આજુબાજુ એને કાંટા હોય છે નાના નાના। આ એલોવેરા કહેવામાં આવે છે, એલોવેરા જેલ। આપણે માથામાં જે શેમ્પુ નાખીએ છીએ એ શેમ્પુ આનાથી બને છે અને આનાથી આને આપણે એનો એલોવેરાનું જ્યુસ પણ બનાવીને પીવામાં આવે છે. એલોવેરાનું જ્યુસ પીવાથી શરીરના જે પેટ હોય છે પેટની સફાઈ થતી હોય છે અને આપણને કોઈ પણ જાતના રોગ ના થાય, જેવો કે ગેસ થઈ જાય, અપચો થાય, તો એવામાં એલોવેરા જ્યુસ પીવાથી ઘણી બધી રાહત રહે છે. અને આ એલોવેરા જે છે એ માણસ આ ઘરમાં જ્યારે કોઈ બહેનો અથવા માતાઓ શાક વઘારતા હોય, દાળ વઘારતા હોય કે તેલ ભજીયા તળતા હોય કે પૂરી તળતા હોય ત્યારે તેલ ઉડે અને દાજી જાય ત્યારે આ એલોવેરાને અહીંયાથી કાપવાનું હોય અને આટલો ટુકડો લેવાનો નાનો, વચ્ચેથી કાપીને જ્યાં દાજી ગયું હોય એના પર એને લગાડવાથી એ ફોલ્લા થતા નથી અને જે દાજેલાનો દાગ છે એ કાયમ માટે મટી જાય છે, એને દાગ રહેતો નથી. એલોવેરાનું એ છે મોઢા ઉપર જ્યારે ખીલ થઈ જાય અને મોઢા પર ફોલ્લીઓ થઈ જાય ત્યારે પણ આ મોઢા પર લગાડવામાં આવે તો એ ખીલ થતા નથી અને ખીલ મટી જાય છે, એટલે મોઢા પરની ફોલ્લીઓ એ થઈ જાય છે અને મોઢું એકદમ ચમકદાર દેખાય છે. અને બીજું કે આ એલોવેરાને માથામાં ઘસવાથી માથાના વાળ એકદમ સુવાળા બની જાય છે અને એકદમ સફેદ થતા નથી અને કાળા રહે છે. માથાની અંદર વાળ જે ખરતા હોય એ વાળ ખરવાનું બંધ થઈ જાય છે. એટલે એલોવેરા એ બહુ જ ઉપયોગી વન ઔષધિ છોડ છે અને આખા ભારત દેશની અંદર એ બધી જ જગ્યાએ અવેલેબલ છે. જય શ્રી રામ.
જય શ્રી રામ.
So Shankar Bhai explained about aloe vera. Aloe vera is a very useful plant, and this is used in many ways. He explained that by taking its juice after boiling, the liver and the abdominal problems are very much relieved. It can be used in jaundice also, and he explained that even if there are wounds, you can cut it and the inside the liquid of the aloe vera can be applied on the wound, and thus the wound will be healed. And also he said that there will be no afterwards any that is the place will not be, it will be smooth out. He also said that if the juice and the leaves are rubbed on hair, the hair will be less of will not be falling, and also said that the color may not fade out early. So he said that this is very useful plant, and it is used in Indian medicine in many ways. शंकर भाई को आगे को शंकर भाई.
हाँ, ये जो मधु दीदी है अपने आरोग्य से, वो अपने को पथरी के बारे में, पथरी का पौधा है वो दिखाएंगी, उसके बारे में बात करेगी. बोलिए, बोलो बोलो.
जय श्री राम. પથરીનો છોડવો છે તો આપણા શરીરમાં જે પથરીનો રોગ થયેલો હોય, એ પથરીનો રોગ થયેલો હોય તો એના પાન વાટીને એનો રસ પીવાથી એ પથરી ગળી જાય છે અને મટી જાય છે. અને આનો લેપ પણ શરીર ઉપર કોઈ દાગ હોય ને તો લગાડવામાં આવે તો પણ મટી જાય છે. આના પાન ઝાડા આવે છે અને આવી રીતે એવી ડિઝાઇનમાં આવે છે. એના પાનનો રસ કાઢીને પીવાથી પથરી મટી જાય છે. આ છોડવાનું નામ પથરી જ હોય છે.
So she is explaining that this is a plant which is used for stones in kidney and gallbladder. If especially for the kidney stones, it is very useful. And if the liquid from this plant is taken daily for some days, the stone in the kidney liquefies. And this is very correct, because I have seen in my area in Jharkhand that the Arogya Sevika, whenever they use it for the patients are relieved. And we have got ultrasonic evidence of this thing, that the stone which was previously there, after using this plant, the stone was removed. So it liquefies after 15 days to 1 month, taking the juice of this plant.
હવે સરગવા વિશે, સરગવા के बारे में अपने भारती दीदी बताएगी। सरगवा के बारे में भारती दीदी बोलिए।
देखो, ફૂલનો ઉપયોગ બતાડજો, પાનનો ઉપયોગ બતાડજો, પેલો શાકનો ઉપયોગ બતાડજો।
ઓકે, હા બોલો, જરા જોરથી બોલો।
મહત્વનો છે સરગવાની શીંગો બધા જ શાકમાં વપરાય છે, અને એને ટુકડા આવી રીતે ટુકડા કરીને બાફી અને ખાટી છાશમાં બનાવવામાં આવે છે, અને બધા શાકમાં નાખવાથી શાક સારું બને છે અને શરીરને સારું બનાવે છે, અને હાડકાનો દુખાવો મટી જાય છે। શરીરમાં ગમે તેવા રોગો હોય તો સરગવાની શીંગો ખાવાથી સારું થાય છે। આ સરગવાના પાનનો રસ જ્યુસ, સરગવાના પાનના થેપલા બનાવવામાં આવે છે, અને થેપલા પણ ખાવામાં આવે છે, અને સરગવાના પાનનો જ્યુસ બનાવવામાં આવે છે। એ 15 દિવસ સુધી ભૂખ્યા પેટે લેવાથી ડાયાબિટીસ, કેન્સરનો રોગ પણ થતો નથી, અને એના ફૂલ પણ શાકમાં બનાવવામાં આવે છે, અને સરગવો સરગવાના છાલ વીછી કરડે તારે એની છાલ કાઢીને ઘસવાથી એનો ઝેર ઉતરી જાય છે। જય શ્રી રામ।
Sarago means Hasmukh bhai, kya drumstick?
Yeah, drumstick.
So
drumstick.
This is plant of drumstick, and she told us that there are many uses of this plant. She said that this can be used for the backache, and she also said that the liquid can be used of the leaves for many ailments. Another thing which is very important about this, the leaves after boiling can be used for the treatment of anemia, because drumstick leaves are specially rich in protein also. So they supply the vitamin B12, B6, and also iron, along with they are rich of protein. So only if boiled leaves of drumstick are taken, then the anemia is very well treated. This we have proved in many places of for anemic ladies in our ARCs. को आगड़ को
ओके।
ये अभी ताजू नाम का एक पौधा है, इसके बारे में ये नंदा दीदी बताएगी। ये ताजू मतलब एक, इसमें कांटा आता है बीच में, और ये इसका पान है इसका ये, तो इसके बारे में नंदा दीदी बताएगी, बोलिए।
दाढ़ी छे के आप दाढ़ी छे?
ગુજરાત સંભાગ
हाँ दाढ़ी छे।
દાહોદ
हाँ
સંત ખરસાણા
ઝાડ બતાવો।
સંત
એટલે
ખરસાણા
હા,
હું એકલ આરોગ્યમાંથી સેવિકાબેન બોલું છું. બધાને મારા એકલ પ્રણામ. હું એવી એક કિંમતી ઔષધિ તમને બતાવવા જઈ રહી છું. તેની માહિતી આપવા માંગુ છું. તેનું નામ છે તારિયું. તારિયાને ઉખેડીને તેના આ મૂળ છે તેને આવા પાંડા હોય છે, તેની ઉપર કાંટાવાળા બીજ હોય છે. તેને તેના મૂળિયાને આપણે તેના આ મૂળિયું છે તેને આપણે બરાબર ચોખ્ખા પાણીમાં ધોઈ તેને બરાબર ઘસીને આપણને જ્યારે વીંછું કરડે છે ત્યારે આપણે તેને બરાબર ઘસીને જે વ્યક્તિને વીંછું કરડ્યો હોય ત્યાં આપણે તેની ઉપર આનો ગાળો ગાળો રસ નીકળે છે, તેને બરાબર તેની ઉપર ગોળ ગોળ લેપ કરી દેવાથી તે વીંછીની જેલ તૈયારીમાં ઉતરી જાય છે. પછી આપણે આ જે એના પાન હોય છે તેને આપણે જ્યારે કોઈ પણ વસ્તુ આપણને વાગી હોય ત્યારે તેના પાન બરાબર નીચોવી આવી રીતે નીચોવી અને તેના ઘા ઉપર આપણે લગાવી દઈએ છીએ ત્યારે તેનું લોહી નીકળતું હોય તો તે લોહી તૈયારીમાં જ બંધ થઈ જાય છે. જય શ્રી રામ.
ઓકે
હસમુખભાઈ, can you explain?
ઓકે
I
આપણે
don't know the plant.
શંકરભાઈ આપણે રામબાણ કહીએ છે, આને રામબાણ કહીએ છે.
આ તારિયા નામનું એક કાંટાવાળું છોડવો આવે છે, એ રામબાણ જ કહીએ છે એને સાહેબ.
Yes, this is a plant which is we call Ramban. It is a medicinal value in every aspect, and this is basically grows everywhere in the any kind of what we call fancies. Okay, and then this is basically used. Now, one of the important thing is that the root is the one which is used, and root has a very good power to absorb the poison from some of the bites which we get. It's not a snake bite, but these are basically bite by some of the local, we call it Vinci. I think so. They are basically you don't see in United States, but they are some of them are poisonous, not a fatal poison, but they are very much inflammatory. So it settles down the inflammation. The other one is the leaves. Leaves are also have medicinal value. When they are used tropically, it also helps to reduce the swelling in that area where these things are bitten you. So these are the very common remedies for the local illness where people have found to be very useful, and they are always use that. So we call them medicinal value of the natural plant which are growing in your backyard. Okay, शंकर भाई आगे बढ़ाओ.
हाँ, अभी ये रतन जोत के बारे में बता रही है नंदा दीदी, ये आपको बताएगी। रतन जोट्रोफा बोलते इसको, अब कहीं हमें
આ ઝાડમાંથી છે, આ પાછળ ઝાડ છે એમાંથી છે.
હા આ ઝાડ સાહેબ.
તમને આ એવી એક ઔષધિ વિશે માહિતી આપવા માંગુ છું. તેનું નામ છે રતન જ્યોત. આપને જ્યારે પણ દાળનો સડો થયો હોય ત્યારે તેને નિયમિત 10-15 દિવસ સુધી તેને ઘસવાથી તેનો આ ચેપ અને તેની અંદર દૂધ નીકળે છે તે મય અંદર ગાળની અંદર લાગવાથી તે અંદરના મય દાળમાં જે જીવડા પડ્યા હોય તો તે મરી જાય છે અને આપણને દુખાવો થાય છે તે દુખાવો પણ મટી જાય છે. અને સારું થઈ જાય છે. અને જ્યારે આપણે મોઢામાં મોજેરા થયા હોય, મોઢું આવી ગયું હોય, ત્યારે પણ આપણે આ રતન જ્યોતનું દાતણ કરવાથી, અંદર એનો ચેપ લાગવાથી તે મોજેરો પણ આપણને આરામ થઈ જાય છે. અને આપણે શરીર ઉપર રતવા જે આપણે તેને કહીએ છે, રતવા થાય છે, તે મોઢા ઉપર અને કાન ઉપર જ થાય છે. એ તે નાના બાળકોને વધારે થાય છે. તે આપણે તેનો આનો ચેપ કાઢી અને જે લાલ લાલ તાચા પડે છે તેની અંદર આ ચેપ લગાવવાથી તે રતવા જેવા ચાંદા થાય છે, તે ચાંદા મટી જાય છે, સંપૂર્ણપણે નાશ થાય છે. જય શ્રી રામ.
Jai Shri Ram. So let me explain that what tree. The tree is okay. The tree they have called Ratan Jyot. The name is given very uniquely, and their peripheral branches are cut and used as a toothbrush. Very interesting that it is used as a toothbrush. And what it has is, it has medicinal value in 3 aspects of tooth disease. One, if there is a swelling and it is causing a lot of toothache, which is more like a gum pain. They talk about gum pain. Application of that for 10 to 15 days will reduce it and will heal it. Second thing is when you call gingivitis, when your tongue and everything is getting sore, then that is also useful using their juice or the milk. The third part is some ulcers in the mouth. So basically this is used for oral care. Different from of oral diseases, it has a medicinal value. Okay, go ahead.
This is Jatropha. This is Jatropha actually.
Okay.
It is called Jatropha in English.
Okay, that's a good point.
अभी नींबू के बारे में बताएंगे. नींबू का ये पेड़ है. दीदी ये दिखाओ पेड़. ये बोलो. ये
લીંબુનો છોડ મોટો છે અને આ લીંબુના છોડ વિશે બતાવું છું.
Okay. It's basically a lemon.
આ લીંબુ છે અને લીંબુનું શરબત જે વ્યક્તિને ઝાડા ઉલટી થયા હોય તો એને તાત્કાલિક સારવાર માટે એનો લીંબુનો રસ કાઢીને શરબત બનાવીને પીવડાવવાથી તરત જ રાહત થાય છે. અને ઉનાળાની ઋતુમાં લીંબુનો શરબત પીવાથી જે આપણા શરીરમાં ગરમીનું તાપમાન વધારે હોય તો લીંબુનું શરબત પીવડાવવાથી એને રાહત મળે છે અને ઠંડક રહે છે શરીરમાં. અને જે શરીરમાં બળતરા થતી હોય, પછી પેશાબમાં બળતરા થતી હોય તો લીંબુનું શરબત પીવડાવવાથી એને તરત જ રાહત મળે છે. ને આ લીંબુનો રસ કાઢીને શરબત પીવડાવવાથી એને ઉલટી થતી હોય તો તરત જ બંધ થઈ જાય છે. ને વિટામિનમાંથી વિટામિન સી મળે છે.
બરાબર.
જય શ્રી રામ.
Jai Shri Ram. So this is a lemon. Everybody familiar with the lemon and value of the lemon. And in America we use called lemonade. But the lemon has a unique property. When you have to give something to settle down the stomach, lemonade is easily tolerated than basically what we call a water only. When you are sick, water doesn't taste good, but lemonade is very easily accepted and people can drink. You can even add small amount of salt in it and it will cover the taste of salt. So people can drink without any hesitancy. So that is a good value and it is used throughout the year, but in summer it is very helpful because during the heat time dehydration becomes very big problem. So what we call ORS right now is basically reconstituted solution. This is they used to make it for many centuries. Okay, go ahead. Shankar bhai, batao.
अभी रामा तुलसी के बारे में बता रहे हैं। तुलसी 2 प्रकार की आती है, उसमें श्याम तुलसी आती है, उसका थोड़ा पत्ता काला रहता है, इसका पूरा पत्ता हरा हुआ रहता है। इसके बारे में ये मधु दीदी आपको बताएगी।
अच्छा, राम तुलसी।
આ તુલસીનો છોડ છે. તો તુલસીને આપણે માતા તરીકે ને પૂજા પણ કરીએ છીએ અને તુલસીને એનો રસ કાઢીને પીવાથી શરદી ખાંસી કફ થયો હોય તો એને પીવડાવવાથી તરત જ રાહત થાય છે અને તુલસીના પાન ચામાં નાખીને પણ પીવાય છે અને એનો રસ કાચા પાન પણ ખવાય છે. જેને શરદી વધારે થયેલી હોય તો કાચા પાન ખાવાથી પણ તે તરત જ રાહત મળે છે. તુલસી 2 પ્રકારની હોય છે. તો આ રામા તુલસી શ્યામા તુલસી વિશે બતાવવા જઈ રહી છું.
રામ तुलसी અને પછી
श्याम तुलसी, श्यामा मतलब काली, कृष्ण भगवान का जैसे शरीर का कलर है उस टाइप का।
ઓકે, એટલે થોડી શ્યામ કલરની છે.
हाँ हाँ हाँ
એને થોડા નજીકથી બતાવો. ઓકે ઓકે ઓકે, થોડી શ્યામ છે. ઓકે
हाँ
હા, સમજણ પડી. સો ધીસ ઇઝ લિટલ બીટ ડાર્કર કલર. ઓકે હા
આ
બરાબર
શ્યામા
છે.
તુલસી આના પણ આપણે શરદી ખાંસી કફ થયો હોય તો એના પાન વાટીને પીવડાવવાથી બાળકોને તરત જ શરદી ખાંસીમાં કફમાં રાહત થાય છે અને એમની પૂજા પણ કરવામાં આવે છે. અને તુલસીના પાન કાચા પણ ખાવામાં આવે છે. જેવા કોરોના મહામારી નો રોગ વિશે આ તુલસીના પાન ખાવાથી કોરોના लागतो નથી. जय श्री राम.
ये
जय श्री राम।
डॉक्टर साहब ये दोनों तुलसी का पौधा है, एक में
क्या?
रामा तुलसी है और एक ये श्यामा तुलसी है।
Okay, so let me explain this. Okay, sir, barabar છે. So this is the tulsi plant they put next to each other. One is a little bit of green color, other one has a different shade. Now tulsi has a very important medicinal value, but because it also has some religious value too. So tulsi plant is considered to be one of the holy plant. So many of the even in USA, people are basically keeping or may grow a tulsi plant indoor, and that is very important that it has a medicinal value too. One of the important part of all these plants have some way they are actually boosting the immunity. So we are going to this Amruta plant, which is very, very important. So we will listen to Shankar Bhai. Amruta batao.
This black tulsi is especially important because during this corona season, it was taken by a large number of people throughout the country, and it is because of the black tulsi that corona has been, the cases of corona are reduced. So in BHU, Banaras Hindu University, there was a research project for 3 months through which they used this black tulsi along with 3 or 4 herbs, and the scientific research was carried on by the scientists and the allopathic doctors of Banaras Hindu University. And when they compared the data, they saw that a large number of patients were treated only by these medicines.
Okay, good. Okay, આપણે શંકરભાઈ આપણે બતાવો હવે ઓકે. હા, તાનસિંહભાઈ જેમ ને.
જી જી જી. જય શ્રી રામ.
કઈ વાંધો નહીં.
તો અમૃતા વિશે હું જાણકારી આપવા માંગુ છું. અમૃતા એટલે અમારી ભાષામાં ગળો કહેવામાં આવે છે ગુજરાતીમાં, અને હિન્દી ભાષામાં ગિલોય કહેવામાં આવે છે. તો આ અમૃતાનો એક છોડ છે, નાનો છે, અને આના વિશે હું સમજાવવા માંગુ છું. એનો આવવાનો જે ગિલોય છે ને, ગિલોય આ ગળો એને આવવાનો વેલો આવે છે, મોટો થાય છે. એ લીમડાના ઝાડ ઉપર ઉછેરવામાં આવે તો આપણને બહુ સરસ એવો આપણી જીવનમાં ઉપયોગી બને છે. આ જે ગિલોય ગળો છે એ એના નાના નાના ટુકડા કરવામાં આવે, નાના નાના ટુકડા કરવામાં આવે છે આટલા આટલા, અને એને ઓછામાં ઓછા 6 થી 7 ટુકડા લઈ અને નાના નાના ટુકડા કરવામાં આવે છે, અને એમાંથી ચીકણો પદાર્થ અંદરથી નીકળે છે, અને એને કૂટવામાં આવે છે. એટલે આનો કૂટવામાં આવે છે, અને અડધો કપ પાણી લઈ અથવા તો અડધો ગ્લાસ પાણી લઈને એને સાંજે પાણીમાં નાખવામાં આવે છે, અને સવારમાં એને પાણી એને ગાળી દેવામાં આવે છે. અને ભૂખ્યા પેટે પીવાથી આપણા જીવનમાં 40 જેટલા રોગો નો નાશ કરે છે. આ અમૃતા એ એક અમૃત આપણને અમૃત જેવું છે, અને આનો જે રસ એટલો બધો કડવો હોય છે કે લીમડા કરતા પણ વધારે કડવો હોય છે, અને આ અમૃતા આપણા જીવનમાં બહુ ઉપયોગી બને છે. તો આનો અમૃતાનો રસ પીવાથી આપણા કોરોના કાળમાં કોરોના નો વાયરસ પણ મટી શકે છે. આનો કાઢો બનાવવા પણ આવે છે. આનો કાઢો પીવાથી ઓછામાં ઓછો 10 થી 15 દિવસ પીવાથી જે પણ આપણા શરીરમાં 40 જેટલા અંગ રોગો હોય એનો નાશ કરે છે. જય શ્રી રામ.
This is elixir. This is like elixir, that is amrit, and this plant is very highly useful for increasing immunity. In BHU also, this was also used for treating cases of corona. And this plant we have during the trainings, we have supplied to all the sevikas, because it is so highly useful that it is called elixir of life. So he said that a small piece of 6 inch, if we crush it and keep in water for throughout the night, and in the morning if we take the water, and if we take after boiling it in water, that can increase our immunity, and in many ways it is used. I have got a very small story about it. In Jharkhand, the sevikas were taught about Amrita by Dr. Suresh Agrawal, and after 1 year, when he visited the Sanch for seeing that what they are doing with the teaching of herbal remedies, that sevikas told him that we are using Amrita for treating the menstrual disorders. Actually, he himself did not know that this can be used for treating the menstrual disorders, and he then went to his clinic and searched throughout the Ayurvedic literature, and he found in a very old book that yes, it was used for menstrual disorders in past, and the whole scientific basis of this was explained there, why it is effective in treating menstrual disorders. We can take it up in a separate at a separate time, but it is actually used in many ways for treating the diseases and increasing the immunity. That is why it is called Amrita.
Amrita, another word for Amrita is a nectar.
Nectar, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. Okay. शंकरभाई बीजू बताओ હવે.
हाँ बोलो. अड़ूसी के बारे में भारती दीदी बता रही है.
हाँ
बताओ, बोलो.
અડુસી વિશે માહિતી આપતી રહી છું. અડુસી મહત્વની ઔષધિ છે. અડુસી નાના બાળકોને ખાંસી શરદી થયું હોય તો આ પાન તોડીને બરાબર કૂટી અને પાણીમાં મિક્સ કરીને 3 થી 4 દિવસ પીવાથી નાના બાળકોને ખાંસી શરદી પિયારીમાં રાહત આપે છે. નાના અથવા મોટાને પણ અડુસી પીવાથી ખાંસી શરદી મટી જાય છે. અને આ ઉકાળામાં પણ આના પાન પીવાથી રાહત મળે છે.
Jai Sri Ram. Okay. Okay. Let me explain this plant. मुकुल जी आपको बोलना है?
हाँ, this is known as Malabar nut or Adhatoda vesica. Is botanical name of this plant, Adusi, and it is especially useful in treating cough. So it is a very important part of all the medicines.
Shankar bhai
Medicines which are used for cough.
Shankar bhai mute karo. Okay. 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 So very, very important, Dr. Mukul ji. If you look in America, we reach out over the counter cough syrup called Robitussin DM or Robitussin. But also in India, this is also available in the local store where they are using this Adusi to make a cough syrup. And that cough syrup is available in India. I think so. A lot of pharmacy, what they call Ayurvedic cough syrup. Is that right?
Yes.
Mukulji?
You are right. You are right.
Because always I took two bottles of cough syrup whenever I travel the train.
And it also contains Vasaka.
Vasaka, yes, good. That's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point you brought.
Because of its antitussive property, it is mostly used in many of the cough syrups available.
In India, most of the cough syrup has that component. You are right. Very, very true. Shankar bhai, આપણે આગળ બતાવવાનું છે કે પતી ગયું આપણે એમનું. He is done with 40 minutes, looks like, huh? So we.
Sir, अपना यहाँ का जो वन औषधि वाला था वो अभी यहाँ खत्म करते हैं.
जरूर जरूर. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
जय श्री राम.
जय श्री राम.
जय श्री राम जी.
Okay, so we will have let's give about 5 minutes to talk, everybody. Let me give you a little bit of that. Ayurveda is also part of subdivision of Vedas. So if you look at it, India as a whole or world as a whole culture started in forest. And from forest, people started forming a small villages. Like here, Native Americans, they used to live in a places and they used to move from place to place. And they used to basically travel. Now, when forest people, they basically figured out what are the usefulness of different plants. But Ayurveda was a scientifically based, as Dr. Mukul Bhatia said, many of the literature is lost because of the Muslim invaders destroyed it. But some of the literature has now with the new government has taken a unique interest to get and do the research and re-establish the usefulness of this home and herbal remedies. Now, herbal remedies word is very uniquely used because even currently, lot of allopathic medicines, they have originally derived from the plant-based product. Only thing what they have done is that they have actually figured out the active compound, and the active compound is made in the lab. Just like if you look at one of the old heart medicine was called digoxin. It came from the bark of a tree and it was called digitalis and it was coming raw. Now they can make digoxin in a lab. It's a chemical compound. So a lot of other things are originally chemical compound, including your aspirin. Aspirin was also coming from a natural product, but now they have made a chemical compound which can be titrated according to dose. So all these things have a unique and value which can be used for common diseases. Just like you think about cough, a burn, or itching, or the hair fall, or some of the things. Now, one of the things, Amrita is a very unique. It has so many uses. And one of the interesting part is actually it balances many of our body diseases are we call a hormonal imbalance. And that hormonal imbalance is corrected by this Amrita, or in English we call nectar. And there are different names in a different part of India. And it is a wine, actually it's like a wine. And it is actually taken out the piece of that one, and the extract is very, very bitter. So they has to be taken out, it has to be boiled, it has to be filtered, and then you take it. So we call it that you do it for 15 days or 30 days. And all of these benefits has very interesting part that we are finding out more and more use. And in India, it has been used extensively most of the time. It's very extensively used. So we will definitely go to talk. We have talk from the, who is talking about the Ayurveda? We have a lecture on Ayurveda.
Yes,
Bhaumik.
there will be a lecture, and she is from Coimbatore. She is principal of Erode Ayurvedic Medical College.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Dr. M. Kritika. She has already joined.
Yes, so we can have her take over the mic.
Just we have to start.
Yes, namaskar.
नमस्कार कृतिका जी.
Yeah.
नमस्ते
Okay.
नमस्ते कृतिका जी.
कृतिका
Okay,
जी
so-
थोड़ा सा आप अपना वीडियो खोल लेंगे तो सबको दिखाई देगा.
Yeah.
No, it's already open.
Video hai
Yeah,
na?
I'm,
Yeah.
yes, Ji, I'm open actually. It's
Okay.
open.
Oh,
Okay, so you are all
so
set to
Tanya has to pin her.
go. Tanya, you want to pin her so she can show any.
Now everybody can see.
Okay, you
Namaskar,
can.
Dr. Kritika ji.
Or
Namaste,
you,
Ji. Namaste.
okay, you can speak.
Okay, Ji. So I'm Dr. Kritika, an Ayurvedic physician and principal of Nanda Ayurveda Medical College and Hospital, Erode in Tamil Nadu.
Oh, Erode is very famous for the cloth. Is that right? They make a lot of cloth.
Yes, sir, you are right, exactly. For textiles
Yes,
and
text.
this bed covers and bed sheets.
Good. I remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have nearby paper factory also.
Oh, God. That's good to know.
Yeah, TNPL and other private owned paper factory, which we get Tamil Nadu, this paper limited, that is also here near to Erode in
Mhm.
Karur.
Okay.
So actually, basically, I'm from Coimbatore, but working in Erode.
Mhm.
Yes. And
At
currently,
present, Dr. Kritika is a Sambhag president of Tamil Nadu Sambhag. That is the state of Tamil Nadu.
Oh,
She is
good.
president of
Yeah.
Ekal Abhiyan.
Okay, so
not President Ji, I'm secretary of Tamil Nadu and Kerala Sambhag.
okay,
Oh, ठीक.
okay,
Yeah,
so
yes.
okay, you can start. You can tell what you want to explain about the Ayurveda.
Yes, Ji. Thank you. So I think the audience are mixed audience with students and all ages of people.
That's true.
Okay. So actually we have to give a lecture based on the audience mentality. So I hope so many classes would have been dealt with Ayurvedic individual herbs, and you are also talking about Ayurveda's Upaveda. Just before starting my session, you are at the end concluding that Ayurveda is Upaveda. Actually, it was told in Vedas that Ayurveda is Upaveda of Atharva Veda. So it is linked, and its history says that it is originated when there was Samudra Mantana, when it was Milky Ocean was churned. So many products came up, and one such god is Lord Dhanvantari, and from him this Ayurveda has been reached to human beings. So actually it says that Brahma Smritva, actually Brahma, Lord Brahma, actually he remembered, and then it is descendant to all other people. Like Indra, Prajapati, then Agnivesha, like that. Actually, it is a divine origin, Ayurveda. So when
Good.
it came to actually human beings, so many people were suffering from diseases, and the gods decided, okay, let them get cured by with the help of Ayurvedic science. So Ayurveda, actually, it's a Sanskrit word which is coined with two words, Ayur and Veda. So the simple colloquial English meaning says Ayur is the lifespan and Veda is knowledge. But actually, when we speak the real meaning, it is a science of life. So Ayurveda deals with way of living, how to live our life. So that is what explained in Ayurveda. So the treating of disease and curing is a second part actually. So the first thing is way of living. And the main thing in the beginning itself, they have told that Ayurveda, the aim of Ayurveda, why we should follow Ayurveda is Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So ultimate, our aim is for liberation, to attain liberation, that is Moksha. So what are all the three things which is primarily essential to attain that Moksha or the liberation is, like Ayurveda is a spiritual science too. So that's why we have to start with Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Dharma, we know, which is the actual disciplined life. When we speak about discipline, then everything is will be in a dharmic way. So discipline, the one single word says not only in activities, food and other activities should also be disciplined. So that's what Dharma says. And Artha, of course, wealth. So this wealth, we essential or necessary wealth is needed for healthy living. So that's what they say is Artha. And Kama. Kama is the desire to live a long and healthy life. So these three gives a way to moksha. So usually we say moksha is after death, but liberation can be achieved during the lifetime itself by following this Dharma, Artha, and Kama, these three. And Ayurveda also explains, so they say by following Ayurvedic principles, one can follow Dharma, Artha, Kama, and attain moksha. So apart from this, Ayurveda mainly says about three pillars of life. That is Nidra, that is sleep. Ahara is the food we take, and Brahmacharya is the celibacy. So these three are the basic pillars or the important pillars which is inevitable to lead a healthy, long life. That's what most important, healthy and long life. So what is this Nidra says about, or the sleep? So Ayurveda explains about the proper sleep, and it depends upon the each individual. So that's why Ayurveda is very unique, because we treat with Prakriti, the individual constitution, based on individual constitution. Like each and every individual is having different characters and different likes and dislikes, and they vary from each other. So likewise, treatment also differs for each and every individual. It is not generalized. Like if we, for example, if we take paracetamol, which is a common medicine for fever, like that we cannot prescribe in Ayurveda. Each and every individual is different, and based on their individual signs and symptoms, the medicine and the food, everything differs when it comes to disease. But when it comes to health, they have a common or general rules and regulations that we'll be seeing later. So when we say about Nidra, so whatever the food we take, it may be a very good, healthy, royal food. But if the sleep is not good, then all the purpose of what we have ate all through the day becomes waste. because sleep is very important, because most of the metabolic activities happens during sleep. So they give more importance to nidra or sleep. Then ahara. Ahara is the food we take. So there is no general rule that everyone should have 1 cup of rice or 1 cup of dal. So my hunger is entirely different from others. So based on my appetite and hunger, I have to take food. Based on my thirst, I have to drink water. So it is not a general rule that we have to take 8 liters of a day and 1 cup of rice, 1 cup of dal, and a small quantity of vegetables. We have to satiate, or we have to get tripti, that is satiation, when we take food. Then only all the sense organs and the mind, everything gets actually satisfied. Only then all the tissues will get the appropriate energy from the food we take. Then brahmacharya, celibacy. So celibacy, each and every age, right from the birth, we have so many samskaras, like Upan means the beginning is like what to say, the 6th month, Namakarana Samskara, naming ceremony. Then 6th month we give food, that is Annaprashna. And every samskaras as mentioned in Ayurveda, till our death, like that one such as the brahmacharya or the celibacy which we follow in our life. So which time we have to have the celibacy, and the importance of sex, everything has been mentioned in Ayurveda. So these 3 are the 3 pillars of life which makes us very healthy and to have a long life. And apart from that, they have mentioned sadvrita, that is the code of conduct. So how to behave in a society, or how an individual should have his own qualities, his or her own qualities. Like it also influences the social responsibility, individual social responsibility, how they should behave in the society. Like we should not steal, and we should not have excess anger, and all those things they are mentioned in Sadvrita. That is the code of conduct. So that makes the man healthy both in aspect of mind as well as body. So how this code of conduct actually influences the person, right from the mother or a woman when she's pregnant, the food she takes and the activities she do influences the mental and physical growth of the child. So we give more importance during the pregnancy, the regimens, what she should actually follow. That really influences the mental aspect of the child. So that's why even if what to say, a child born with less intelligence, might not be the mother not aware of what all the food habits or activities she was taking during pregnancy. But later on, we say my child is not at all studying, his or her IQ is very less. But scolding the children after that does not serve the purpose, because it should have started from the pregnancy itself. So that awareness we should make, or we should do for all the women, that they should be healthy, and the sperm and ova should also be healthy before uniting, or that only gives a healthy progeny. So this also have a major influence in the society. So that's what later on Ayurveda says, the code of conduct. So we cannot totally change the constitution of the person, but we can decrease or increase the good and bad habits accordingly. And Ayurveda, the main aim of Ayurveda is swasthasya swasthya samrakshanam. So swastha is nothing but health. So swasthasya swasthya samrakshanam. So we have to protect the people, or maintaining the health all through our life. So that is one important. I like to prevent from affliction of many diseases, and to maintain the health is the first aim. Then aturasya roga nivaranam. So if any person is inflicted with disease, then that should be cured with appropriate medicine. So these two is the aim of Ayurveda. So sorry. Then we see about swasthasya swasthya samrakshanam. So how to maintain this health every time, even if we get small ailments, what we should follow and how to maintain the health and to prevent diseases attacking them. So that's what they say we have to use Patya, Ahara and Vihara. Patya is a Sanskrit word which tells about the wholesome. Wholesome is completely good, the wholesome diet or the wholesome activities. So when we follow this wholesome food and activities, we will be healthy and we can maintain health. If not, it is properly followed, it leads to disease. Then we have to go for treating the disease. So how to maintain this health? There are two types actually when it comes to disease. How to treat this disease? One is logic reasoning, that is Yukti Vyapashraya. Like based on the signs and symptoms of the patient, we treat the disease. And second one is Daiva Vyapashraya, like Jyotisha, Mani, Mantra, Dharana, all this comes under Deva Vyapashraya. So all these two together actually plays important role in treating a patient. So when we see the first thing, that is Swasthya Samrakshana. So how to maintain the health? So we have to maintain the health, physical health as well as the mental health, as both are interrelated. So when it comes to mental health, Ayurveda says about like dhyana, yogasana, like all those pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and all this which we have seen in yogasanas. That is concentrating the mind, concentrating the breath through pranayama and dhyana. Then doing before that, doing all the asanas and making the body fit. So this asanas, doing yogasanas, and concentrating the breath, concentrating the mind, all these three needs a healthy body. So how to maintain that health? By taking healthy aharas, food and activities. So how to find out which food is healthy for us? So in Ayurveda says about incompatible foods. So rather than going to see what is healthy, we should know what we should not eat. The first thing is incompatible foods. Many of us very commonly we do a mistake that eating curd with all the mixed vegetables. Actually, Ayurveda says about advises that curd is not good for health. So there are some specific conditions where curd should be taken and with a proper combination. Apart from that, food is not a healthy diet which should be taken daily. Instead, they have told churn it, remove the butter and take buttermilk. So buttermilk is considered to be the amrita or the nectar which cures many diseases. As of modern, they say it's prebiotic. So actually this takra or the buttermilk, it actually it initiates or it helps in the growth of many fauna inside the intestine. That helps to grow many microbes which body cannot produce on its own. So takra is considered to be the amrita. So we can have takra instead of a curd. And Ayurveda also advises not to mix so many foods which is incompatible. One thing is fish and curd, non-veg and curd, and dal and non-veg. So usually, commonly they eat non-veg and they take sambar, that is dal. So that is not a proper advice to mix these two. And milk with nuts. So milk is having a different quality, and nuts, what we say, this badam milk, we mix all the nuts with milk. So that is not a proper combination, which leads to improper metabolite inside our body, and that stays as a poison inside our body, and it gives rise to many skin diseases and digestive disorder, and later on leads to joint disease. And also says that the general rules, what we have to consume regularly and what we should not. That's what it is mentioned in daily regimen. So a person should wake up at Brahma Muhurta, Brahma Muhurte Uttishte. So they say any person who wants to be healthy and to live a long life, they should wake up in Brahma Muhurta. So getting up at Brahma Muhurta and doing nothing is also of not use. We have to get up at Brahma Muhurta, do asanas, pranayama, dhyana, and all other positive activities should be done during Brahma Muhurta. Simply getting up and watching mobile and watching TV will not serve the purpose, but Brahma Muhurta Uttishta and doing all these positive works should be done, which is necessary for our healthy life. So after that, in olden days, we had this twigs of neem and all these things for brushing, but nowadays we got brush, toothbrush and paste. So in that also, they advise us to use the twigs, which improves our taste perception and what to say, improve the general health of the body, which starts right from the secretions in the mouth. So usually we say digestion starts from the mouth itself, because saliva has an important enzyme which makes the food digestion at the first level. So they say brushing the teeth with twigs like neem and other twigs, which improves the taste perception, which removes the dirt, unwanted dirt inside our mouth. So then how to bathe or bathing in the morning, and that is one way of cleaning the body, and by applying oil. So that's what they say, abhyangam acharet nityam. Nityam is daily, acharet means using. So abhyangam is applying oil over the body. So they say daily we have to apply oil, and depending upon the season, the condition of the body, we can choose either coconut oil or tel, that is gingerly oil. So either one can be used for abhyanga, and daily it has to be done. So that makes our body healthy and gives a long life, and which prevents from attacking of many diseases. And they also advise like gargling, then inhaling the smoke, everything. But in day-to-day life, due to so many work and other activities, we are unable to follow these. But whichever is most applicable or which we can practice, that we have to do. By doing such, we can also prevent some of the major diseases getting affected us. So recently we are seeing diabetes and heart disease comes at very early age. Even hypertension at the age of 25 is really very shocking to hear, and that is due to the actually wrong lifestyle and activities, food and activities they follow. So the young generation, if we want to achieve more, health is most important. So they have aim and they are working for it, but they are forgetting to concentrate on health, that is body and mind, how to tune, because spiritual living is very essential to achieve our aim. So not everyone can practice karate and judo or this all the martial arts. But when we condition our mind and body, when we have this spiritual awakening or the spiritual strength, we can achieve many things. So for that, Ayurveda helps in tuning the mind and body. So later on, when they say after the daily regimen, they also tell about the seasonal regimen. So in each season, what are all the foods and activities we have to perform? So I'll give one short example, and this is the season. It differs. Actually, the season in America and other European countries differs from India. So that's what in Acharyas in Ayurveda, they have given the logic reasoning. The doshas are the basics of Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and which constitutes the 5 Mahabhutas, all surrounds us. So that is with the permutation and combination, it is pervading in all the materials we eat or we see. So as per the climatic condition, you can choose the vegetables which you eat. So usually Ayurveda advises to use seasonal foods, seasonal fruits and seasonal vegetables. So nowadays, it became common that we get all the fruits and vegetables all over the year. So how to identify that we have this is a seasonal fruit? So usually that will be plentifully available and which is in lower cost. So even the vendor, roadside vendor will be selling those vegetables. It will be available in plenty and it will be cost effective when compared to the other fruits and vegetables. So we can identify that it is a locally grown and which is seasonal vegetable of that particular period. So that's what Ayurveda very strictly says, locally grown and seasonal vegetable and fruits are always good for health because our body is accepted or it is according to that particular external environment. So whatever that which grows in that particular environment will definitely suit us. So even if it is excess also, at one particular season, like in India, we get mangoes during the month of April and May. So if a person consuming more of mangoes during that time, it will not affect his health, rather it will strengthen. And during this winter season, usually the tubers gain more strength from the ground, that is underground tubers and this stems, actually it gains more energy during the winter season. So when we consume all these tubers during this time, actually it helps us to restore energy during the next 3 seasons like summer. So this I am telling about India, but in other Asian and European countries, based on their availability of the fruits and the conditions, they can choose the vegetables and the fruits. So at any time, we cannot mix the vegetables nor the fruits. It should be always taken single. Means if it is papaya, eat only papaya. Don't mix papaya with mango or pineapple or with pomegranate, because each and every fruit has different qualities and it cannot be mixed. Sometimes it is, most of the times it is incompatible or it produces different actions. We may not be aware, but it is not good. And vegetables also. And if everyone is vegetarian, then it is a different aspect. I told about curd and some of the vegetables or some of the non-vegetarian food. So even if they are a non-vegetarian, we have to take one type of non-vegetarian at one time. Like we should not mix meat or chicken with meat or fish with chicken, fish with meat. So any one non-vegetarian item and only that should be consumed. It should not be mixed with curd, buttermilk or any other thing. So we are giving our body to digest that food properly and it should be properly absorbed. So understanding our body is very much important. It is not like a waste basket. So whenever we are hungry, whatever we want, even at an inappropriate time, we cannot dump inside our stomach. So we have to concentrate on our body. What is the demand when our body says, I am thirst, please give me water. Only that time we have to drink water. Unnecessary loading of body with unnecessary things is usually not good and which creates or which is the root cause for
आप फ्रोजन हो गए हैं, हम सुन नहीं पाते
all the diseases. Actually, sir,
yeah,
shall I continue?
You have 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And with this recently this COVID-19, this corona infectious diseases, actually in India, especially in Tamil Nadu, the people are very much aware of this
we are getting frozen off and on.
Pepper, jeeraka, and coriander and shunti, that is the dry ginger powder, that which helps and which the people daily they use in their food, like a preparation of rasam. So one or the other way, it removes the excess phlegm or the kapha inside our body, and which also gives good immunity. Using haldi or turmeric regularly in all the food. So all the food contains turmeric, pepper, jeeraka, and this shunti, or the dry ginger, or one or the other way fresh ginger, then garlic. So everything, it increases the immunity as well as it removes the excess metabolite or the waste metabolite from our body. So in that case, papaya and pineapple is very good, that which eliminates all the excess fluid which is unwanted from our body. So that is helpful during this COVID-19. Those who have repeated or recurrent cough and cold, they can consume papaya, pineapple. Then green gram is also very good, which gives us the immunity. Among this pulses, green gram, which is soaked for 8 hours. It should not grow more than 1 mm. So it can be used soaked for 8 hours, and it has to be cooked and then consumed in any form, but it has to be cooked. So like that, buttermilk, then rasam preparation, which is very famous in Tamil Nadu or the South Indian parts. These fruits which is used regularly, it prevents any mostly any infectious diseases, and it gives immunity. I think even though they had this corona infection in Tamil Nadu, actually we could we could overcome all these difficulties because of this food habits. And using of paneer and all this is also not a healthy diet. Paneer masala, then all these milk products, except actual cow's milk and jaggery, all other milk products is not that much good. In one exception is buttermilk, then ghee. Ghee consumption is actually, it improves the brain activity. It is good for joints, then lubrication of the joints. Then we can have buttermilk. These two, then apart from that, pure, very native cow's milk with jaggery, organic jaggery. So these things actually improves our immunity and prevents diseases. So actually we have lot in Ayurveda. So to the maximum, I have tried to actually minimize, and to, in a nutshell, I have put, I know that I'm not satisfied because I don't know whether I have covered all these things. So major things I have told because the time is very short. And with a small prayer, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, I finish my this topic. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. What a great opportunity, and we have to thank that you have allowed us to understand. And only thing I want to say that it rhymes with our morning session of what we call what we learn about breathing and whatever. So always there is some kind of what we call rules and regs, we call it. So here, Yama and Niyama are always applied, whether you live, whether you breathe, whether you eat, or your code of conduct. So this is very well explained. One of the important things is that life begins at conception. So they call Garbha Sanskara, which is very important for all of us students to know that our Ayurveda believes in health begins at the time of conception. So Garbha Sanskara is very important part in Indian. So even before the baby is born, there are certain, in Jain, they really believe more in Garbha Sanskara. The code of conduct has been done. The one important part they brought is constitution of a person. What kind of tendencies, what kind of vrittis, what is that? That is very, very important thing she brought up to do. Very, very elaborately she explained that Ayurveda does not treat only diseases. First thing is protecting the health. That is a very important thing. Second thing is you treat the disease for cure. Many of the thing in currently allopathy is symptomatic treatment. That's not what it is. Third part is a maintenance of health. And she brought a very, very succinctly about wholesomeness of the food and appropriate food, taking seasonal food, taking needed amount, not excessive amount. It very logically, scientifically, entire Ayurveda has been created, and they have classified, they have done what to eat, what not to eat. Make sure you don't mix the things inappropriately. Those who are coming from south, they know about rasam, they know about sambar, and many of the food in south, they believe in some of those things. Most of the time, as you go from south to north, we become much more irregular and do not eat at appropriate time. Like when you go into north, people are eating 9:30, 10 p.m. at night after they come from work. In Gujarat, they eat at 8:30 or 9. And when you go in Europe, the dinner doesn't start until 10 p.m. That is not healthy. So, but one thing she brought about sleep. Sleep is very important. Now the allopathy science agrees. The sleep is repairing, resetting our whole body system. So appropriate sleep, adequate sleep, and that one. And she brought very important part of moksha. A lot of time they said you don't have to die to get moksha. You can. Moksha is very interesting word. But in Bhagavad Gita or the scriptures, it basically says when you are nirmal, when you are pure, where you are joyful, where you are prasannata, and where you have an inner happiness, that is a one kind of moksha itself. So we will leave open to the talk now. So we have a two-part. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
And we have open to the questions. So we have a good 10 minutes, 12 minutes to ask. Well, we can ask Tanya or Divya or anybody else. Go ahead. I think so.
Could
Go
you
ahead. Go ahead.
explain? So I read an Ayurvedic book before that also said mixing fish or meat with curd rice is curd is bad. So can you like explain more like deeply why it's bad? Because I don't understand why it's bad.
Yeah, see, the curd actually, basically the curd, buttermilk, everything is from the milk. So when the transformation happens, we say in Ayurveda, parinamha kala uchyate. So depending on the time, there is a transformation happens in each and every food. So when it is milk, it has a different quality, like it is having a purgative effect, milk. But this mother's milk is easily digestible when compared to cow's milk. Goat's milk is easily digestible when compared to cow's milk. So each and every milk has its own quality depending upon the place it grows or the food it eats. The same cow, if it is gazing in open field or if it eats only grass, the quality of the milk is different when the same cow is fed with artificial food like this peanut cake or any other thing. So the quality of the milk is different. So that milk which comes from the native cow, which breeds on only grass, is easily digestible when compared to the other milk, which I told later. And this milk, when it is transformed to curd, the first level, right? So when it is transformed to first level, that is curd, it gains more moisture. Curd has excess, it creates excess moisture in the body, and it has stambhana property. It does not have vireshana property like milk, because see that one transformation changes the whole chemical composition or the quality of the next product, that is curd. So that's why we tell a person who has to take curd should take in the morning hours or the daytime and not in the night, because it is heavy to digest, because it gain more moisture. So that which contains excess moisture can be given to the person who is having a very strong appetite and who is very weak. And that too, Ayurveda advises only cow's curd, not buffalo's curd. Buffalo's curd still creates mandata, lethargic nature. Always they will be sleepy and they will be very lazy. So cow's milk is good, cow's curd is good. And that this curd, when you churn and you remove the butter, that butter is actually heavy to digest when compared to this buttermilk. So buttermilk is easy to digest and sour buttermilk should be taken. So that sour buttermilk is the only thing which produces the internal microbes which is essential for digestion. So when this butter is actually again heated and all the water content gets evaporated, and when it becomes ghee, it actually improves the digestive fire and it is good for health. It provides longevity and it's good for brain activities, which does not has the same qualities as not with butter. So this is the actual traditional transformation of each and every product. So when it is transformed with heat or without heat, then its chemical composition changes. So if you want to have curd, take in a season which does not increases excess moisture in your body. You should have extraordinary appetite and your physical activity should be good. So that's what we say. The treatment or the food and everything depends on the individual constitution, prakriti.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Tanya, you want to ask anything or go ahead?
Yeah, I had a question about like the difference in the curriculums or the materials taught in like an Ayurvedic college or like what we would call an allopathic, like a regular kind of medical school. Like what are some similarities or differences in how they would approach treating illnesses?
So how you, go ahead.
Yeah, any question? Pardon,
No.
madam, you want to know about the...
So she said how you teach the medicine in Ayurvedic college than allopathy college for the student to learn.
Yeah, in India, currently we have this NEET, which is a common entrance exam. Those who have to undergo NEET and they will be eligible for Ayurvedic courses, which is a 5.5 years course. And 4.5 years we study Ayurveda, 1 year is the internship. And as per the current syllabus, all the Ayurvedic students in an undergraduate level, they study both Ayurveda as well as allopathic subjects also. So Charaka, an Acharya in Ayurveda, he says, and a physician should not be like obstructed with one particular thought. He should be capable of learning all the sciences. He should be having a Shastra Vidya. So when they say about the qualities of a physician, they should be Daksha, Tirthartha, Shastrartha. Means they should be efficient. So when a physician becomes an efficient, only if he knows all the sciences. Okay, not at least they should know the basics of all the sciences, and they have not put any obstruction or obstacle that an Ayurvedic physician should learn only Ayurveda. So whichever is needed to cure a patient, a physician should learn. Ayurvedic physician should definitely have the knowledge of other sciences also to protect and to save the life of the person. So as per that, we are learning allopathy also, but we practice only Ayurveda with the Ayurvedic basic principles. But in post-graduation, we have specialization in each, like pediatrics, gynec, and pharmacy and everything. We have surgery, the Shalya Tantra, Shalakya Tantra, everything we have in post-graduation. We specialize and we practice general medicine. So we learn both, but we practice Ayurveda. Whenever is needed, we apply that knowledge, but we don't apply that medicine.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Vanya or Devaki, anybody else wants to ask question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Manav.
I'm not sure if you're like aware of like trends in America now, but I feel like a lot of like the Ayurvedic values and like kind of the simple advice such as like not mixing certain things or say for the use of turmeric stuff has been big in America, like commercialized even. So it's interesting seeing people charge like double the amount of money for
That's some
things that we consider, medicine. And like, I was wondering your thoughts on that and how it's kind of been used as like a fashion trend almost.
So not only in America, even in India also, like all these products, we have two products. One is the original, one is the adulterant. And actually, we have to take initiative to reach all these good things to all sectors of people. That's what we say, health for all. When we say health for all, then healthy products should also reach all the people. That is not a one night work, but we have to work together. That's what ACL is doing now. We are making available all the locally available products in the ACL centers, so that the local farmers who are involved in ACL, they can sell the products in the ACL centers, and it has been distributed to all. It is a very started, but I wish that it should have a very larger, it reach to larger area.
I think a good point here. How about Devaki? You want to ask any question or anything, concern?
Yeah, so you had said earlier that Ayurvedic medicine is unique to each person. So how do you like figure out which combination is right for each person?
We have studied Ayurveda. So, you know one thing, Samudrika Lakshana. Have you heard about Samudrika Lakshana? Based on how the nose is designed, how the eyes are designed, how the eyebrows are designed. So, a well practiced physician should also know the Samudrika Lakshana. So, when a patient comes inside, just by his physical structure, we should be able to find out what disease he is having with the pulse, and just by seeing and the color of the tongue and the nail, we can identify what type of complaints he has. So the combination differs. For example, in some cases, we give a common medicine. Like a pandemic, during this pandemic, we chose one particular quath for everyone. Even in that itself, we have some differences. Like if the fever is with cough and cold, then the medicine differs. If the fever is not with cough and cold, but due to heavy and strenuous activity, then the medicine changes. So based on the tridoshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, which is the combination of 5 Mahabhutas, then the medicine also differs in combination, dose, everything, time of administration. So Ayurveda is very unique, as you said, and as I said, they have told when we should administer the medicine with what. Not like morning, afternoon, and night before food. Sometimes along with food, sometimes just before the food, sometimes immediately after the food, empty stomach, so many things. We say Aushadha Kala, when the medicine should be prescribed in what dose.
Yeah,
So
Devaki brought a good question she brought. Anybody else want to ask? Anybody wanted to ask anything? How about Manali or Abhidesh or Ishti? Oh, okay. Ishita or Omkar. Anybody wants to ask? I think she brought very important for Devaki. And actually very important thing, experience teaches you more. Second thing is that when you have enough experience, by even the complexion of the person, the way they talk, the way they, all of these things are actually considered very much. I like the way she said that we are not treating the physical part, we also treat the person's emotional part. And emotion or mental part is included. We have, in allopathy, we have separated very deeply, and that is very harmful, because to treat the wholesome or treat the person in a totality, both physical, emotional, and mental elements has to be taken in consideration. It's very, very important. She brought a good point. Mukta, you want to ask any question? Or anybody else? So we are going to close the session. Anything else, Tanya, you want to say now? Okay, I think so. we will definitely go ahead, Tanya.
Just thank you so much for presenting. I think we learned so much from this that I didn't know about earlier, and I think it'll be very helpful to have this perspective going forward.
Oh, that is good. So we will do the closing prayer. हमारे भौमिक भाई आप प्रेयर करेंगे? सर्वे भवन्तु, go ahead.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः,
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु
भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग्
भवेत्।
चलो, thank you very much.
सबको जय श्री राम।
Tanya, your that query regarding your presentation, what you learned during these sessions, that on the tomorrow that closing session is there, and at the time, in spite of taking feedback from individually, that thing can be presented during that hour.
Okay, doctor, go ahead. Go ahead, Tanya.
We have like half an hour to 40 minutes kind of presentation that all of us have put together about what we've learned. So just like half an hour would be enough.
Yeah. So it's nice you prepared already that, so it's good.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, see you.
Specifically, I should say Dr. Kritika has given a very illustrative
good
things about Ayurveda.